This is the Creation and Publication Project, your guide to publication. As always, I am Michael Barltrop, and you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Barltrop or at WhatBinder.com. I sold my first book today. Really? How much did you get for it? It's just a figure of speech. It's from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, someone being very excited that they've finally got published. Just because we're not getting paid for something doesn't mean that it's not a great success. A lot of authors do not get paid for every single item that gets published. Many times there may be some remuneration, but other times a publishing credit is all they're after. Right now, don't worry if you get paid, and don't worry if you get published. You're out there trying to make a difference, and that's what matters. If you're looking to publish text, we need to look at query letters and submission forms. The first thing you'll need to do is find a publication. Now you can look at digital magazines, you can use books like The Writer's Market, a new volume is published every year, or you can use heypublisher.com. If you're using heypublisher.com, it's incredibly straightforward for you to use. All you need to do is choose a category, what type of submission you would like, and some keywords. So if you want to write teen fiction and you want to make sure that you can submit it through email so you don't need to mail it away, you can put that in, click search, and find a number of things that come right up to you. Once you have a few different suitable magazines, you can click on the one that best suits your interest and find out where the submission page is. From there, it's just filling out a few boxes, attaching a file, and sending your work on its way. What does a query letter look like? There are 4 important things to a query letter: a quick hook or introduction, a synopsis of your piece, an explanation of why you are the best author, and a large amount of thanks at the end. Here's an example I wrote. The iridescent man isn't your normal teenager. He sees the world as it was, not as it is. Every object is a textbook he can't help but read. Immediately, you've created a hook that draws people in. They want to know more. They will read that next paragraph to see your synopsis. Focused on 15-year-old Haynes Botchkin, this short story explores the importance of the people around us and the objects we cherish. Last week, Haynes' life was forever changed when he picked up his smartphone and was flooded with the lives, hopes, and dreams of all who touched each of its components. So now we know that Haynes is somebody who, when they touch objects, they learn the entire history of it, all of the lives that somehow revolved around it. And you can see how this would be a concern, because when things are made, shipped, packaged, bought, sold, a number of different people are involved in it. And all of a sudden, you see that simple smartphone many teenagers carry around in their pocket carries so much more importance. There are so many lives that were altered in its creation and in getting it, from the point of production all the way to Haynes. Explaining why you're the best can be difficult for some people, but you always need to be selling yourself. So as a high school student, I understand the mindset of today's teenagers and the feelings of hopelessness and helplessness that change our disposable commercial culture. I have won 3 school writing contests, which has prepared me for submission to High Writer magazine. So all of a sudden, in Why You're the Best, you're exploring what makes you the ideal person, a little bit of a biography, where you have had success in the past. If you've already published a short story, you're going to want to put that in there as well. And you're going to want to tell them why that suits you for their publication rather than a publication in general. And finally, we end off with the thanks. Thank you very much for your consideration of my short story. I look forward to hearing back from you. Sincerely, and then your name. In this case, Sean Richtoff. So that's all there is to writing a query letter. No matter what you're submitting to, those are the components you're going to want to include. Sometimes you'll write them a little longer, sometimes they'll be a little shorter. It all depends on what's required for the magazine or publisher that you are currently looking to submit to. Self-publishing. So what is and isn't self-publication? First off, there has to be a possibility of failure or a chance at financial success. So it might be easier to understand what is self-publication by understanding what is not self-publication. Uploading to a media host like YouTube or Wattpad or Imager, these are all hosts. They're not publishers. They'll take anything. They don't reject different pieces. So these are not publishers. Making a personal website, anyone can do that and put their own work up. That's great. It's a great part of promotion, but it's not publication. And submitting to your teacher, again, fantastic, but that's not getting it out there into the world at large. So now, what is self-publication? Being hosted on a famous channel. If you can get a very popular YouTuber with 100,000 viewers to host your video, all of a sudden you've been published on their channel. That does matter. And there's that fear of rejection that they might say no. Being featured on a well-known website. So many magazines have gone digital only that that's what a lot of different publishers look like. It's not your own personal site. It's a large site out there that has a number of authors writing for it. Many newspapers have gone this direction as well. And then submitting to a web store. This is always something that you can do. You can create your own web store, host your own images, or host your own stories, and try to sell on demand there. There's not that sense of failure because they will take everything, but there is that ability for commercial success. And this is what one of those online shops would look like. All you have to do is upload the images you've created, choose what products you want them featured on, and it does all of the rest for you. This is one of the simplest ways to get your work out into the world. But that said, it doesn't always end there. That's where self-promotion comes into play. And that personal website you've been thinking of making, it could be a real hit to go with your online store. Now, what if you're publishing media texts, audio files, video files? We're going to specifically look at radio station submissions. If you can write an email, you can submit a song. At the CJRU, the Scope Ryerson radio station, all you need to do is follow their very straightforward instructions on their website, and you can access it through that link below, and follow what they ask for. By sending a simple email, you will have submitted your song to the radio station, and you will have attempted to publish your piece. Many radio stations offer similar forms of submission. That's really all there is to it. It's not nearly as hard as we might have thought it once was. A. Milne wrote in Winnie the Pooh, "You can't stay in your corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. You have to go to them sometimes." It's one thing to create wonderful, amazing things. But if nobody else can access them, if you're not pushing them out into the world, they're just going to stay in your corner of the forest. And people aren't going to know that you're there, no matter how great the things you've created are. It's important that you bring your work to them. And that's what we're doing here with the Creation and Publication Project. You've made amazing things, and now it's time to let the world know. So thanks. If you have any questions, you can find me at Mr. Barltrop on Twitter or WhatBinder.com. And once again, thanks to Slides Carnival for this fabulous template that makes things look just a little bit nicer.